months of labor.
Month.
He steps into the light.
It's very bright. Bonjour.
Take 4.
Take 4. Now we have some type of party going on next door. So we are cutting out the audio. Welcome back, guys. It's been a minute. We are finally back to making some carbon panels. Feels good. We briefly touched on this 997 before we even had it in the shop, I think. We haven't filmed it at all since it's been in here, right?
No, it was like just white.
So this is a 997.1. This guy, Brian, brought it to our buddy Tyler. He has this company called Chavis Performance Engineering. He LS swaps 997s and 996s. He put an LS2 in it. The guy tracked it for a while, decided he needed more power, so he got an LS7, and now they went crazy wide body, some GT3R SR kit, which is a pretty cool looking kit, but it fit terribly. So we probably have like 300 or 400 hours into like fixing up this kit and actually getting it to fit properly. Right now all the panels are kind of just thrown on. Well, the main panels are actually bolted on, but like the flare and the bumper are just hanging on by a couple bolts, which is why fitment's not great. We also put air suspension on it, some Airlift 3P, and then Augment Wheels made a custom set of wheels for him. So they're completely custom everything. So it's a pretty cool car. What we're doing today is finalizing some of the carbon parts we're making for it. Since it is a track car, he definitely needs to have a good bit of aero, especially in the front of a ass-heavy car like a Porsche. You definitely need to have some good downforce. So we're going to make a decent-sized splitter. We got this Divinycell foam, just like my splitter. We cut it to half of the shape of the splitter, and then we rounded, like beveled one edge. The other edge is still left a little sharp. But you can see it only sticks about 2 inches past the bumper-ish. He is also going to drive this on the street a good bit, so we want to make sure it wasn't sticking out crazy far. So a little compromise, but it'll definitely do the job. And also 911s have a lot of underbody shielding already, so they're almost like a flat floor car. So it should have some pretty good aerodynamics. And then we're also building a diffuser in the rear and wrapping had a fiberglass wing, we're just wrapping it in carbon so it fits the whole theme. All right, so we're starting with a flat Alumilite panel, literally just because it's a stiff, flat, blank canvas, basically. So we've already waxed it. We got our huge jug of Pardal paste. You know, if you watch this channel, you've seen us use this a million times. It's a mold release wax. I think it smells amazing. Xavier hates the smell of it. So we've already waxed it 3 times, wax on, wax off, Mr. Miyagi style. And then we've hit it with a coat of PVA release film. This basically is an extra barrier. It's like your insurance to make sure that your part's actually going to come off of your mold, which this is, I guess, technically our mold. It almost makes like a cellophane type barrier. And I've actually put a border of tape around the outside of this thing first. So when I pull up the tape, I can put the bagging film tape down and then bag it. So the bagging tape, you don't really want to stick it directly to the PVA because it can pull up and get air pockets underneath it. One note though, is when you're laying tape like this and spraying PVA on top of it, if you actually want to pull up the tape and have a nice crisp line and not pull your PVA up and like ruin your part, just run a razor blade against the edge. So when you pull it up, basically your tape sitting on top of your panel has a layer of PVA across it as well, so it'll start pulling it up the whole section of PVA as like one big sheet. So I've already razor bladed all that just to get all of the small stuff out of the way so we could be prepped to do this, because we are part tubers. It's getting pretty late. These guys are jamming over here. What time is it? How long do you think it's going to take us?
45 minutes.
I'm gonna say 1 hour. We already prepped our panel. So the first thing I need to do is lay the first layer of carbon down, but, well, actually, yeah. So we'll cut the first piece of carbon first. We're gonna cut a little shy of the mold surface so we have some room to put the vacuum bagging like gummy tape down. And then we're gonna just do a wet layup with a vacuum bag. I'm gonna try not using any bleeder cloth except for where the actual vacuum port comes in and see how that turns out. And I'm actually just gonna use 2 layers of 3K carbon. And I'm gonna do the entire panel because with the excess, which there will be a good bit of, I'm actually gonna make some inner skirts for the inside of the front bumper and the rear quarters. So when you look into it, it looks like it's got a splash shield, but it's actually gonna be a piece of carbon. And 2 layers will be pliable enough that we can actually curve it and do whatever we want with it. Okay, where did I put these scissors? Okay. We good, we good, we good. Follow the yellow brick road. This little Kevlar string at the end is always the hardest thing to cut through.
Oh, that's what that is?
I'm actually not 100% sure, but I'm pretty positive it is. It cuts like Kevlar, as in not well.
Because if that is true, then I guess you could say it's technically a piece of carbon Kevlar that you have on your car.
Right, if you keep the little yellow string in there. Gotta keep them carbon scraps. So that looks like layer 1. Try to be as gentle with your carbon and fold it up if possible, just because you don't want to distort the weave.
I just want them to see that you got on gloves.
Yeah. Can't be touching your carbon with bare hands, bro. All right, so now for the epoxy. We're gonna use my favorite, Fiberglass System 2000 with the 2060 hardener. 2060 hardener is a 60-minute pot life, which is why it's called 2060. I'm not using 2020 anymore because I just don't like that number anymore. 2020 is just not a good number, all right? We know why. I'm just kidding. No, 2020 is actually very useful for fast layups and stuff like that. I'm just making a bad joke. So each hardener has a different mix ratio. 2000 and 2060 is a 3-to-1. I believe 2020 is a 4-to-1. I'm not positive. They all say it on the actual hardener instructions on the back. But this is 3 parts System 2000 to 1 part 2060.
And you always want to make sure you have the correct ratio, because I've quickly learned with the personal experience on how important it is to have the right amount of hardener to epoxy, or you'll get a chemical combustion that causes chaos.
It's also not healthy to breathe in.
The triple C's, always remember. Chaotic chemical combustion.
Makes me think of remember that Mr. Yuck that used to be on like all of the hazardous things you couldn't give your children under the kitchen sink?
I feel like I have, and I just don't remember.
As a kid, I don't know what happened, but like I don't know if there was like stickers or something like that. I think they gave out like green stickers to like moms and like, here, put this on all the stuff that kids don't touch. It's called Mr. Yuck. Oh. Yeah, you want to be careful and not mix stuff on top of your mold surface because you can mess with your PVA. Like I was talking about not doing before. All right. Well, luckily this is 2060, so we have a good bit of time, so I'm just gonna start pouring this on here, and then I'm probably gonna mix another one of these bad boys. Looks so cool when you watch it, like, when the resin gets like too thick, it kind of rolls over top of itself. It's like it's hydrophobic on top of itself. Ooh.
If only it wasn't party time, could give you some quality ASMR.
Yeah. There's a photographer that rents space from us, and he likes to jam.
I can't tell. He's having the time of his life doing this.
It's like I haven't done this like fucking 40 times. Do 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 do.
Dude, that joint's going crazy.
Yeah, when it gets to a certain thickness, it just like glides on top of itself. Once it gets tacky, the layer underneath it, it won't do that. But when it's one big pour like this and it's real thick, it'll do this silliness. So I want to make sure every bit is covered. This is definitely like a thicker layer than we would really need. But for the actual Divinycell foam, I want it to suck up some of this. Make it a little bit more rigid. Get a good bond between the carbon and the foam. So for the second layer, we might not actually put much resin on top of the section that's just getting a second layer of carbon and no foam in between it. Because this is probably enough for 2 full sheets, but we'll see. Cool. So I'm just gonna set this end down first. All right, can you grab this middle section right here? And yeah, lightly pull it towards you. Yep. You just want to make sure you pull in just only 2 directions, this way or this way. Because either way, it'll only pull those strands. Yeah. Actually, you can pull diagonal to try and straighten the weave back out, but it's working pretty well for us, actually. As long as none of it's hanging over the edge.
I guess the squeegee will help fix a lot of the creases.
Yeah, any like the wrinkles, this will get out. Let's also make sure it's evenly wet out, or as even as we're going to get it with a hand layup.
So on this first step, resin essentially is your friend because it allows you to massage out any imperfections.
Yep. Yeah, once you set the dry carbon onto the resin, it wants to stick to it, and it's kind of hard to maneuver it. And if it drops and grabs it, then you start trying to move it and pull it around too much, it can distort the weave pretty bad. But if you let the actual resin sink into it, then you can actually shift it a good bit after it's all been wet out and move around. Like we did more moving around of the carbon after it was already set in here, because we had some of it that was hanging off the edge a little bit, covering over our tape. Okay, now we have the first layer of carbon down. It's all wet out. We're gonna set our foam core on here with the beveled edge up. The beveled edge is going to be the bottom of our front splitter. All right, let's line these guys up. Next, we're going to mix some more resin. Get this side of the foam resin rich, and then we're going to lay the last layer of carbon on top of it.
He's in here singing some songs I don't know.
You don't know, dude? From the window to the wall to the sweat.
So the resin drop down your. I think we know it.
Nah. Resin's for carbon parts, okay, guys? Don't get your mind out of the gutter.
So. That was a very painful explanation to tell Mariah.
Oh God. Dude, putting gloves on, hot and humid, and you're sweaty.
You know what's funny that I found out recently that we've been doing? We work.
Something we doing wrong?
No.
Okay, good.
It's.
I hear that
I
now.
want to know if anybody else picked up on it. We do majority of our work in the winter lately. Like
Yes.
We've been skipping summer.
Yes, it's too hot, dude. It's like, it's not as hot as it was yesterday, but it's still like 96 today, so.
Yeah.
Baltimore. Okay, we're going a little crazy here.
Although you want to be as professional as possible, always remember, this is fun.
This is very true. What a good lesson, Xavier.
Try my best.
Better have fun while you're doing it. You never know how many more carbon parts you got to make. Better have fun while you're making them. What?
Maybe a fly or something else.
That?
What was that?
The fuck? I just slapped it.
I seen it.
Did you record that?
It's recording.
Good. Can you zoom in on that, please? I hit him. I backhanded him like a pimp. All right. Yeah, so just make sure your corner lines up with that corner. Yeah, go ahead and stick her down. Okay. Yeah, you can drop this a little bit. Yep, you're good. Just want to make sure this is the most important thing, to make sure that doesn't go higher than that.
Okay.
Right. Okay, you can drop this a little lower. Yep. Yep. Just, yeah, keep dropping it. Keep dropping it. Keep dropping it. Just watch that edge. So you can maybe bring it up a little bit so it's closer. Like that. I'm sorry, towards you. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's keep laying it down there. Perfect.
The tape on or?
Yeah, you can leave it on. It'll mess up the weave if you pull it off anyways. So, start working our way towards this, and then make sure once we actually hit the splitter, we go like that. Making carbon parts with my friends.
I feel like a professional already.
Dude, you've already made carbon parts by yourself. You pretty much are.
The pre-preg one, great experience.
Your first hand layup
First hand layup was
almost blew up.
we gotta go back and correct.
Got to redeem yourself.
That was quite embarrassing. But the greatest thing with failing is you learn.
Damn, dude, we are so smart. We're out here teaching. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord. Cool, cool, cool. We're looking good.
So what will you do like this little edge on the tape? Does that matter?
I have enough room. The tape is 3/4 inch wide. I'm sorry, 1 3/4. So we have enough room that I can set it back a little bit. But I will need to make sure that the resin does not get over on the edge. So I have these little towels to wipe it. Wipe me down.
One thing I thought about when I took my gloves off, it would really suck if you had like a super small pinhole and you're just sitting there spreading all this resin and it starts seeping in your glove and then the gloves eventually stick to your hand.
Yes. I've done that.
For real?
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh, I like tear my thumb out of my glove and I not like realize it.
And you'd be thinking it's sweat.
Yep. Or something else. Or I'll like do it when I'm like mixing like the 1 minute epoxy. And I'll like, take my glove off and my thumb will be all black. And it'll be black for like 3 days. And people just look at me weird. Why you got a black thumb? Yep. I swear if a mosquito just flies into this stuff and gets stuck into it. That happens in the paint shop sometimes. Like
I was thinking about it, like
when
that
you,
bug.
yeah, when you get into when you open the door and get in the paint shop, and it's always when you're clearing, so you'd be like ready to clear something, and you'll be going across the panel, and you'll just see out of the corner of your eye, the bug will come right and fly right in front of your spray pattern, and it'll just go, blah, and it'll get stuck right to your part, and it'll be like a little bug sitting in your clear, and then you gotta wait till the next day until that all dries, sand it out, re-clear, paint the whole panel again. It's really fun, trust me, it's fun.
Should make a shirt, death to all bugs.
I mean, we need them, I guess, but not mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are making the bees die because people are, yeah, never mind. I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah.
Hold up, mosquitoes kill bees?
No. But people spray for mosquitoes in their yards, and then that kills bees.
That's one thing I ain't tolerating is the deaths of bees.
You know this channel, we are adamant about the bees. Save the bees. People in here are like, shut the fuck up. We want to watch carbon and car part stuff and building Datsuns, but no, we will not. We're gonna make shirts, say save the bees. We're gonna go on a campaign. Yeah, I'll be down with that actually. We should make some shirts.
I was about to say, I would too.
If anybody wants to like, you know, have some slightly cheaper therapy, all you need to do is get some friends, make some car parts, and as you're doing it, you'll talk about the most random shit. Just talk about your problems, you know. Spreading that carbon, that resin in the carbon, it's nice and, oh yeah, it's therapeutic.
Almost like Bob Ross style.
Bob Ross video coming soon. Okay. All these edges that seem like they're sticking up, once the vacuum, this is why the vacuum bag is very important for parts like this. The vacuum bag will stick it down to it. So I think we just need to do one more little mix to get the rest of this wet out and we're done. P apply, applied. Okay. I'm gonna try and get this as smooth as we can. Let's pull on this so we can lay our tape. So all that is left. It's such a flat panel, I don't think we really need to put any plates in this. But I am going to choose a corner and add some bleeder.
What's that other green stuff we put on the mesh?
That was when we were doing infusions.
Okay.
The mesh helps with when you're actually like, when it's vacuuming, it helps like bridge a little gap so like the actual resin has a clearer path to actually pull through. Because I guess if you just laid peel ply down and then just vacuumed it all super tight and then try to pull resin through, it'd be a lot harder to pull resin through, it'd be real slow.
Oh, you put a mesh on this?
No, since this is already a wet layup, all of our resin's already in, so we're good. So all we need to do is just, I'm putting the bleeder ply down because I don't want my airline to suck up a bunch of resin. But other than that, we're gonna leave it just like this and vacuum bag it. So I wanna see what the actual, I've never done a test like this where I left the, I didn't put bleeder ply on the back of this. Because basically what will happen is the vacuum bag will actually pull the resin through this peel ply. But usually it pulls it through it into bleeder. But I want to see what type of finish it gives me. If it gives me a little bit extra resin to work with where I can sand it down real flat and clear it. Because I'm thinking I'm going to gloss clear it because it'll go better with his car. But I don't know. Experiment. And let's see. If you want what helps, it's when you pull it, you can keep this a little tight. So you go ahead and pull that. You can just run your finger along it.
Oh.
As long as you keep it a little tight, it'll help you. Yeah, you can keep it doing that side.
Dude, how's your finger so smooth?
Gotta get your fingers dirty so they slide better. Got some dust on them. Your hands are nice and clean and sweaty, they'll just stick to it. Okay, so we'll see how this experiment goes with no bleeder, but it looks crazy. I'm confident it's gonna turn out pretty good. And so we're gonna let this sit overnight. We'll come back tomorrow. I will wait for Xavier to actually peel this open. I know I usually get too antsy and I just pop it open when I get here first thing in the morning, but I will wait this time. And then we will mount it on the front bumper, and then we can actually get the front bumper fully bolted up, and then maybe do another little tour of the car.
Remember that episode we were making the Mario swim noises?
Yep. I say this is how they do thunderstorm sound effects.
That too.